go over these sorting activities is I usually pick the one with the smallest amount of papers or in their pile, and I tell the kids, I use my document camera, and I have the kids shout out, so there's less physical changes ones, I'll just give that away. And I'll say, shout out all of the ones you have in physical changes, and I tell them that I want all ideas so I get the chance to talk about misconceptions. So the kids start calling out physical changes, and I'll put up the pieces that are up there, no matter if they're right or wrong. And then I say, okay, now let's try to correct this as a class, and I'll say, who wants to take some down? And then kids will shout out ones that they want to take down and why. And at that point, I'll start correcting them, saying, you know, maybe we should leave that there, and why, or why did you want to take that down? And then we talk about the misconceptions. But it's a much more interactive way, I feel, and very visual for your hands-on learners. So you could do this. I have a million sorting activities. You could do this with heterogeneous, homogeneous. I have one for that. I have particle pictures where they separate them between pure elements, pure compounds, mixture of elements, mixture of compounds, and mixture of both. And then there's diatomic ones thrown in there so that we can talk about all of that stuff. And you can even, you know, use this as an inquiry and then use this as a review. You can do true false and just have statements where they put them in true false. Pretty much any worksheet you can turn into a sorting activity. For your own sanity, make sure you print out like an extra copy, and if a kid is missing a piece, just hand them the copy and they'll cut out the piece and like correct their bag or whatever. Because I would go insane when I'd see one of these pieces of paper on the floor and I didn't know which bag it went to. It doesn't matter, just have like, you know, copies.
Lots of copies.
Yeah, so that'll drive you insane with these sorting activities for sure. So just, that's a way to avoid going crazy. And then we would just write down the answer to this sorting activity, and it will be just as good as a worksheet, but it'll be in their notes and they can't lose it if it's in their notes. So I'll keep bringing sorting activities that I've created. I'll upload this image file, and the one that I didn't really like, the bubbles, it should really be liquid plus a solid equals bubbles. So this is the lab that I do before this, and those are pictures of the lab results. I made a physical and chemical change lab to get away from the idea that, first of all, physical changes are, well, that, you know, our book kind of alludes to the fact that color changes are always chemical, but it's not true. If you mix two pieces, you know, two paints together, and it's a predictable color, then it's a physical change. And so this is what I did to sort of combat that. The first one was just grinding rock salt, so they grind rock salt, that's a physical change. The second one is iodine with, and I'll put this on the website. Our school is really low on paper, so I don't have a handout for people. So the second one I do, and I don't tell them what these substances are. I do iodine and cornstarch, and then they do iodine and, I don't know, baking soda. So one they see it turns black and the other's just a mush, so chemical versus physical. Then I have them do phenolphthalein in a clear liquid, or vinegar. So they have two clear liquids that make red. And of course they don't know what it is, I don't tell them. But that's chemical because it's a new substance, it doesn't look like the substances it came from. And then I just have them do phenol red with a red food coloring. And that just gives them light pink, so that's physical. I have them do a universal indicator with vinegar that's dyed green, but they don't know it's vinegar. That of course turns red, that's chemical. Then they do universal indicator in clear, and the clear solution is Windex, so that turns blue, so that's chemical. And then they do universal indicator with yellow food coloring, and that stays green, so that's physical. And that kind of messes them up because they don't know that green and yellow should still be green, so we talk about like the color wheel and things like that. And then I do vinegar and baking soda, and it makes bubbles. That's the bubble one that you saw. And it should say solid plus liquid equals bubbles. And then I do the same, so I do a green, let's see, I use the same vinegar that's dyed green with the baking soda. And then I do the dyed green one with like just powdered sugar. I forget what I do. It'll be online, but you get the idea. So one makes bubbles and one doesn't. It's just a bunch of mush. And then I have them do origami at the end if they are done early. And that's a physical change and kind of fun for them to do. So they can do a talking dog, a sailboat, or a jumping frog. So after we go through that whole thing, this is sort of how I wrap up the lab with these little pictures and sorting activities. So that's how I sort of like really overblown chemical.
Where did you say the handout is, just on your personal website? Or
No, I'll put it on ChemWest. I do the ChemWest website. So
Okay.
when I like upload everybody's documents, again, I'm taking videos for the website. This whole meeting will be online, and all the materials will be available for anyone who wants to print them out. So I'll have all the instructions for that on there, and I will have the template for this sorting activity for chemical and physical changes. So are there any questions?